Now I would like to talk about our US Canadian quarter mech. This particular coin mechanism, all metal mech, will accept both a US and a Canadian quarter. There are differences between the US and Canadian quarter, US quarter being copper based and the Canadian quarter being ferrous based. So in this particular mechanism there is no magnet, which is normally in this section here, because if we had a magnet here that would stop the Canadian quarter. But I'm going to drop a US quarter through, and I'm going to drop a Canadian quarter through, and you can see it took both coins. I'm going to drop a slightly undersized coin into the mechanism, and you see it got caught here. It got caught here because of an undersized lever, and because the diameter of this particular coin was too small, it did not push the undersized lever out of the way. If the undersized lever was pushed out of the way, the coin would get delivered into the device. So this little undersized lever stops undersized coins. I'm going to show you the back of the mech to show you how the coins get separated from the accept side and the reject side. This separator back here is what separates the coins from either being accepted on this side or rejected on this side. What you want to do to make an adjustment to this separator is to start out with the separator all the way on this side here. So you would slide this adjustment all the way to this side. You'll have a number of coins that will be rejected and come out the reject side of the mech here. What you want to do is slowly bring this separator back in this direction until you accept the coins that you want to accept. In this case it would be all US quarters and all Canadian quarters, and then securely tighten this screw down. On this particular mechanism for taking US quarters and Canadian quarters, there's a special serration detection device inside the mechanism, which is right here. This little device has a stainless steel spring. It's resting on a pivoting arm here. When the coin is delivered down a ramp built into the gate, the edge of the coin touches this blade. When it detects that serrations on the coin, it directs the coin into the right path so that it's directed on the right side of the separator down below so that the coin could get accepted. It's important to make sure that this little blade does not get damaged. It's somewhat not fragile, but you want to make sure it doesn't get bent accidentally by somebody going in and messing with the blade. If you have a problem, you can easily bend the blade up or down, because it is flexible, to get the coins to work properly in this particular mech. And you want to make sure that it's free to pivot also. And if for some reason this assembly gets damaged, it's easily replaced by just removing this screw, and you can get a replacement part from Coin Mechanism. This is the device that's detecting the serrated edges of either the US quarter or the Canadian quarter. The cradle has a weight attached to it, and the weight is there to act as a counterbalance for the particular coin that's being accepted. In this case it's the US quarter and the Canadian quarter. And it helps deliver the coin at a particular rate when it tips and tilts and delivers it to a ramp inside here to deliver the coin. Well, you want to make sure that your cradle is free to move. The cradle pivots on a brass bushing, and it's easy to remove and clean this. You just remove this little E-ring here, and the whole cradle assembly will slide off of a highly polished pin. You can use a pipe cleaner to clean the inside of the brass bushing on the cradle assembly, and use a soft cloth to clean the pin that it pivots on. Before you put the assembly back together, you can take some graphite from a pencil or graphite lubricant, a very small amount, and put a dab on the pin before you reassemble this thing, and make sure that the device is free to move without any friction at all. This will keep the cradle in good shape and being able to deliver the coin at the proper speed when it's delivered into the device. This plate right here has taken the place of the magnet assembly on our standard US 25-cent mechanism. What this plate does is it acts as a stripper plate when a coin is stuck inside the cradle here, there are pins. There are 2 pins that are bent going here. There's 1 pin here and there's 1 pin here. When you press the reject lever, those pins protrude through this gate and they push the coin off of the cradle. Because the coin is resting and stuck in the cradle, these 2 pins will push the coin off the cradle. This adjustment right here, the screw adjustment for this stripper plate, is made such that you turn this screw counterclockwise until these 2 pins are just flush inside here without interfering with the coin being dropped into the mech. You don't want these 2 pins to be protruding through this gate. So when you make an adjustment here, you want to make sure that these pins are not protruding through the gate in its normal position as it is here. You want to be able to see the pins poke through this gate when you push the reject lever down. So the adjustment on this particular screw here is made so that you just barely have these 2 pins protruding on this side. They should be flush with the inside surface of this gate.
Kleen-Rite.